Are you someone who loves to learn and take notes as you read? Yet, how often do you actually use those notes or remember what you've learned? After running a book summary company for over 10 years, I found 5 critical mistakes that waste readers' time and leave them with notes that they never use. In this video, you learn how to craft summaries that you can actually learn from, remember, and apply. But first, it helps to know what good looks like. After summarizing hundreds of books at Reading Graphics, we discovered that every great summary has 4 key ingredients. First, faithful, meaning it reflects the book's original models and logic, not your opinions. Second, clear. It's structured so well that you can explain the entire book in 30 seconds. Third, memorable. It uses visuals, patterns, or analogies that make the ideas stick. 4. Purpose fit. It's written with a goal in mind, whether it's personal learning, teaching, or sharing. When any of these 4 ingredients is missing, your summaries might look fine on the surface, but they won't help you to learn, remember, or apply the ideas. And most of the time, it boils down to 5 key mistakes that are avoidable. Mistake number 1. Starting your summary without a clear purpose for reading the book. Without a goal, your summary has no direction, and you won't know what to capture or leave out. Here's a quick tip from the Reading Graphics team. Let's say you're about to read The First 20 Hours by Josh Kaufman. Are you hoping to learn a new hobby in 20 hours, to teach someone a skill you already know, or to train your team members to acquire new skills? Capture your goal in one line. I'm reading this book for this purpose, for this audience or context. That single line shapes what you highlight, how you summarize, and even the format that you choose. For example, a personal learning summary might just stay in your notes app. A teaching summary could become a short slide deck, while a team training summary might work best as a visual cheat sheet. Here's a simple guide that shows how your summary contents and formats might differ depending on your goal. Let's move on to mistake number 2. Passively highlighting or jotting random notes as you read. If 70 to 80% of a page is highlighted, then nothing stands out, and you have failed to capture the book's logic. And random scribbles, they are hard to revisit and even harder to remember. So here's a better alternative. Instead of highlighting everything that looks important, annotate what matters and why using the FACE method. Let's see how it works using The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. As you read, annotate using 4 letters. F for framework. Mark concepts associated with Duhigg's habit loop. A for answer. Make a note next to the important concepts, like keystone habits which are critical for habit building because they drive other changes. C for challenge. Mark this next to key problems or questions, like why habits replacement often fail when it matters, and link it back to the corresponding answers. Lastly, mark E for example, including case studies or even scientific research on habits. With this approach, your highlights can become more meaningful, and you start to see how problems, ideas, and examples are connected. So your notes become more useful when you review them later. Now let's move on to mistake number 3, using the same format for every book that you read. Not all books are built the same. Each author organizes their ideas differently. And if you don't take that structure into account, your summary can go off tangent. At Reading Graphics, we've analyzed hundreds of non-fiction books. And we found that 90% fall within 3 main structures, starting with the simplest one, sequential. Summarize chapter by chapter. Some books are designed to be followed step by step. Each chapter builds on the last, guiding you through a clear process or sequence. Take Atomic Habits by James Clear. The book begins with a short backstory and habit fundamentals, then moves through 4 chapters that explain the 4 laws of behavioral change, before ending with advanced tips. So for sequential books, it's best to summarize them by mirroring the author's original roadmap. The approach is straightforward, but not all books follow this structure. Some are more thematic. Group big ideas by theme. Thematic books read like a collection of stories and insights that circle around several main themes, lessons, or principles. To summarize books like this, focus on grouping similar lessons together under recurring themes. Aim for no more than 5 to 7 big ideas that keep surfacing, then organize the related insights and examples under each one. Take The Art of Learning by Josh Weskin. The earlier chapters follow his chess and martial arts journey. Key themes such as learning and growing through adversity only become clear toward the end. In such books, start by identifying the main themes, then group all the related lessons and examples into one section that captures this idea. For our last structure, let's look at books that combine both approaches. We call these hybrid structures. Capture core framework, then applications and examples. Hybrid books are built around a central framework or model. To summarize such books, start with the framework first. Capture what problem it solves, how it works, and what its main components are. Then layer in case studies, applications, or practical uses. For example, the balanced scorecard revolves around a single model to translate strategy into action. It's built around 4 perspectives: financial, customer, internal processes, and learning and growth. Once you have summarized the model, you can add examples and ways to apply it. It sounds simple, but this one shift can completely change how your notes work. By matching each book to the right summary structure, you connect ideas meaningfully and turn scattered bits of information into a structured knowledge base that you can actually use. Let's move on to mistake number 4. Summarizing too much or too little. Some people shrink an entire book into 5 vague points. Others copy half the chapters word for word. Either can happen when you don't have clear filters to decide what to keep and what to cut. And as a result, your summary loses clarity and it becomes very hard to review or remember them. So what have we learned after 10 years of refining our book summary process? We now use 3 levels of detail to review every summary and reading graphics. We call them macro, meso, and micro. Macro is your big picture, one sentence that captures the core message of the book. Meso covers the key ideas or building blocks that support the message. Micro includes the best examples, data points, or action tips that bring those key ideas to life. Let's take Essentialism by Greg McKeown as an example. At the macro level, Essentialism is about defining where you can create the most value and then doing it with the least effort. At the meso level, this comes down to 3 supporting pillars: explore, eliminate, and execute. Capture 2 to 3 points to support each one. You can see a short example of this write-up on the Reading Graphics blog. At the micro level, zoom in on the key actions, examples, or case studies that illustrate those points. These 3 levels of detail help you to cut through the noise and decide what to keep in your summary. Let's move on to the last mistake: stopping after you summarize. Many readers close the book, finish their summary, and move on. But if those summaries don't show up in your work or your life decisions, then you are not done yet. To learn and grow from books, you need to build reinforcement into your routine. Yes, that means that it will take some effort, but the results are worth it. So what does reinforcement mean? After finishing your summary, try this 3R cycle: review, reinforce, and refine. Let's see in action with Ultra Learning by Scott Young. Review the 9 core Ultra Learning principles regularly. After 24 hours, 1 week, and 1 month, ask yourself, what still surprises me? What do I still remember? Reinforce your learning by applying one small idea immediately in real life. Refine. As you apply what you've learned, update your notes or visual. Add examples, clarify phrasing, or mark what actually worked for you. Your brain needs repetition and reflection in order to turn information into insight and to lock it into your long-term memory. So use the 3R cycle to convert passive information into active knowledge and actually make that learning stick. So if your summaries aren't working for you, it's almost certainly due to one or more of those 5 mistakes that we just covered. Start by spotting the one that shows up most often in your notes. Fix that one first, and you'll start to notice a difference. Once you start to read with purpose, capture deeper insights, match each book to its right structure, filter what really matters, and reinforce what you've learned, you'll never see book summaries the same way again. Because they stop being just a collection of random points and become real tools for thinking better, remembering longer, and applying faster. To see what this looks like in action, visit the Reading Graphics library, where you'll find hundreds of summaries crafted using the exact same principles and processes that we just covered today. I suggest that you start with 3 books that you already know, explore the text, infographic, and audio summaries to see how those key insights fit together clearly, and use those finished versions to bring back ideas that you might have read but forgotten. And then refer back to the steps in this video when you create your next summary, so you can start to see the same clarity in your own notes. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, let's keep learning and growing together.